October 11th, 2020, Sunday, October 11th, 2020, finds us here today at Charles Hartman Park on the west side of Lee Summit, which boasts one of the trailheads to the Rock Island Trail portion in Lee Summit, Missouri. Oh, the fall leaves are in full color today, and it's a gorgeous day, so we're going to take advantage of getting out here and riding the trail out to Brickyard Road from Charles Hartman Park and just totally take in the colors, the scenery, just have a good time today. This is a really popular trail ever since it opened in about July 2019. Everybody hits up this trail, especially when it's nice out. But there is a lot more to this trail than people probably realize. Again, this was part of the Rock Island train line, and today I can tell you a little bit about the history of this area and this train line. Right here, we're crossing 3rd Street, the Lee Summit. Runs east and west, heads out to the Longview Farm area. The portion of the Rock Island Railroad line that stretched between Kansas City and St. Louis was a latecomer to the railroad line business. There were about 4 other lines that were already taking place in this region. So they struggled in a saturated market, essentially. Furthermore, Missouri isn't exactly the easiest place to have a railroad. There are a lot of ups and downs and rivers and rocks and a lot of stuff like that. It's just difficult terrain, rugged terrain, especially in the Ozark region. So there were a lot of tunnels and high bridges necessary for this line across the state, and they were difficult to maintain. They were costly to maintain. We're going to see one of the tunnels today. The Vale Tunnel, which is in the portion of this spur here that actually went through what was once the town of Vale. One of the reasons why this railroad line here that goes through Lee Summit was such a priority to complete around the time it was built, 1903, 1904, was that they wanted it to be ready in time to deliver people from Kansas City to the 1904 World's Fair in St. Louis. So it did get completed on time. The name of this line at that time was the Rock Island, Kansas City to St. Louis subdivision. Doing a little bit of research on the internet and also reading some of the historical signs along the way, you'll find that the Chicago, Rock Island, and Pacific Railroad managed construction of this rail corridor and maintained it from 1904 through 1981 specifically. The last time a train probably went on this exact corridor would have been the late 70s, as it did shut down in spring of 1980. The Rock Island Railroad was originally established in the late 1840s as the Rock Island and LaSalle Railroad, named for the two connecting cities in Illinois along the Mississippi River. They changed their name when they expanded territory from then on out into Chicago, and they just did further expansion across the Midwest in the late 1800s. For many years, the name ended up being the Chicago, Rock Island, and Pacific Line, CRI&P. So you might see that on old historic signs or things of that nature associated with this trail, with this rail corridor. Construction on the rails at this exact portion started around 1900, and the line was actually complete about 1901 to Bland, Missouri, and continued westward. This is underneath 470. Right now, the portion in Lee Summit is just a segment of this trail that's available. There is a big gap in the trail between Pleasant Hill, Missouri and Lee Summit, Missouri. It does not connect. So you actually have to drive up to Lee Summit and park at one of the trailheads to access it, or go on streets to get there. The Rock Island Spur actually goes from Pleasant Hill to Windsor, Missouri, and there it connects to the Katy Trail. So hopefully, eventually, someday, funding can be achieved to connect the Rock Island Spur to the Rock Island portion in Lee Summit. And the Rock Island portion in Lee Summit is eventually going to be completed down to the Truman Sports Complex in the Kansas City area. So that will add about 7 more miles to it for a total of maybe about 14 miles or so. So today, if you just ride this whole portion back and forth, it'll probably be about 7 miles one way, something like that. Up ahead we have the Vale Tunnel. It was built in 1903 and 1904 for the Rock Island line. It's 444 feet long. This was decommissioned in 1980. So the last train probably went through here in the 70s. Then the line was pretty much grown up over, and they turned it into a trail, opened it up in 2019. On your left.
And Kenny had a terrible time finding Uncle Kennedy.
There's still remnants of old railroad pieces along this trail. It looks like a telegraph or electricity of some sort. It's really dry and dusty out here today, and lots of allergies. It's so beautiful. The Rock Island Trail goes to Knobtown and Raytown Brickyard Road, and it continues all the way diagonally through Lee Summit out to like Market Street on the other side of town. This was a freight cargo train line and a passenger line for Rock Island. Passenger service consisted of 2 twice daily trains. They were known as doodle bugs, each of which left Kansas City and St. Louis, and they met in Eldon, Missouri. The passenger trains stopped operation in April of 1959. The Rock Island Railroad Company faced a lot of financial difficulties, and they went into a downward spiral. They filed for their final bankruptcy in 1975, so it was just downhill from there. The operation eventually ceased in the line. They attempted to reorganize, but it just wasn't successful. Again, the market was saturated, so they shut down in the late 70s. And this is about the end of the line, but they're working on expanding this. It's supposed to go up to the Truman Sports Complex, which will double the length of the trail, probably by next year, 2021. Yeah. So we're going into Knobtown. This portion of the trail will open next year, I'm sure. Most of the Rock Island Trail, the Missouri Department of Natural Resources now maintains it as a trail. You can research a lot of the agreements associated with that. And the portion in Lee Summit is belongs to Jackson County, Missouri. This is the first time I've ever seen Knobtown from this angle. This is 50 Highway at Nolan Road. This train bridge here had a tree growing on it for years, and they've just now ripped it out, and made it into the trail. This is cool. And this is pretty much the end of the line for today. They're still working on it. Hopefully soon we can do the whole thing. Alright, headed back from Knobtown, Missouri, back to Charles David Hartman Park, Lee Summit. Crossing over 50 Highway at Nolan Road on the Rock Island Trail. October 11th, Sunday, October 11th, 2020. They'll be opening this soon, probably next year. Knobtown, Missouri got its name from a general store in the late 1800s where the storekeeper was found murdered and hung from a doorknob by his suspenders. Classy, huh? It's beautiful. It's kind of nice being on a portion of this trail today that doesn't have anyone on it. That will then soon get back to civilization. A few months ago the rails were still down here, so they just took them up and just did this work within the last, I would say, 3 or 4 months. This line, I think, started in Illinois, Rock Island, Illinois, and went all over the Midwest until it shut down in 1980. This is Brickyard Road. See if I can squeeze through here again. Here we go. Okay. I'm gonna walk the bike or some over the rail. So we're coming up to the Vale portion again. The Vale Tunnel. Just south of the Vale Tunnel used to be the town of Vale. People actually lived around this town about the year 1900. when the train line came through, there was actually a Vail Railroad station. The train would stop there and go to Kansas City. That town doesn't exist anymore. You can find it on really old railroad maps of this area. Lee Summit, Missouri, Rock Island Railroad. But a lot of people worked around here, and there was a lot of industry. There was no trees, or hardly any trees at the time. It was 115, 120 years ago. I'm heading south right now, and it's uphill to go south. So I'm going to be huffing and puffing. Here we come. "95th Street is over this tunnel. It goes east and west. Vail Tunnel, 1903. Hi.
Not mine, it's yours.
441 or 44 or something like that, 444 feet long. It's a great breeze. I was in here not long ago and I followed a bird flying all the way through this tunnel to the other side. Such a neat tunnel. Longest train tunnel around. At least Summit's lucky to have it. It's good that it's been turned into a trail. Parting view. So again, back to Charles Hartman Park. It is uphill. We're going to be huffing and puffing. There's leaves falling. So just up that way is the parking lot off of 98th Street, Norfleet Road that goes off of 95th Street. You go off 95th, you go to Norfleet, and then you go to 98th, you can park at this trail and get the other side of it. They're going to be building Paragon Star really close to there very soon, maybe in the next year or two, which will have shops and hotels and restaurants and apartments and all kinds of neat stuff. It's actually going to be a huge soccer complex area, so that'll give trail access to that area someday as well, and it'll be super busy and super popular. But for now, it's more secluded. There's an old piece of railroad archaeology right there. There's some old pictures on the internet that show people around the turn of the 1900s, like 1904, whatever, playing on this equipment right in front of that tunnel. So quite a lot of history along this corridor here. Just up here on the right, on the west side of this trail, was the old Vail Railroad station where this train stopped at. And then it went this way to Kansas City through Independence. Right about here is where that Vail Railroad station was. It's such an incredible thing. You can look up pictures of it online, but there's no sign of it now. This is the north end parking lot currently, fall 2020, where you can park to access this trail. Again, off of 95th Street to Norfleet to 98th Street. This is where Paragon Star is going to be built. Paragon Star access will be right there in the future. There's such a great breeze today. Lots of people out, planes flying, not a cloud in the sky. It's probably like 70, 72 degrees maybe. So beautiful. Gorgeous fall day in Lee Summit, Missouri. This whole area was a river valley. It's very historic. Little Blue River. Water is down, it's very dry. And those trees over there, Cedar Creek. Can't really see it from here. That tree right there must predate the Civil War. A portion of it is still alive, believe it or not. So that was Chipman Road. Chipman Road, the portion we just went over, has a tunnel below us that was completed in 1903. It's about the size that fits a Model T or a horse carriage. It is one lane. At some point they're going to have to expand that road and it's going to have to come out, so that's going to be pretty sad because it's very historic. Little red berries on it. All right. Yeah, or go. All right. This is uphill, so we're very tired right now. There's a very subtle grade change. It's very subtle. It's pretty. This is a pretty flat trail, but when you're heading north, keep in mind you're going downhill, and when you're heading south, you're going to go back uphill. So that's what we're suffering from right now. There are a lot of neighborhoods that back up to this trail at various portions. One is the Winterset area, and they have a lot of private trails that cross this path. But Cedar Creek can be accessed by way of 100 Acre Wood Trail. This trail here on our right connects to 100 Acre Wood, and it crosses Cedar Creek. This is Cedar Creek. Very dry today. Look how dry it is. They did blow out all of this rock to put this railroad line through here. In this hillside around the year 1900. And since this railroad line sat unused for so many years, the whole thing had grown over. So when they made the trail, they had to rip all of the overgrowth out. That's where we are. As far as we went today, probably about right here. And then we ended right here. So that concludes our trip today. Hope you all had a great time.